Moving out on my own was exhilarating. The empty apartment held so much promise. I could picture my books on the shelves, my art on the walls, my life unfolding in that space. It felt like the first page of a new chapter. The freedom to make my own choices was intoxicating. No more negotiating bedtime, no more arguing over the thermostat, just me, my rules, my life. The possibilities felt endless. The first few weeks were a blur of unpacking and exploring. I wandered around my new neighborhood, I tested out different takeout places, I reveled in the silence of my own thoughts. Every day felt like an adventure. I was finally living life on my own terms. It was everything I had ever wanted, but like any good story, my solo living experience wasn't without its plot twists. Living alone, I soon discovered, wasn't just about independence and freedom. It was also about responsibility and sometimes unexpected loneliness. It was about learning to be comfortable with myself, by myself. Maintaining relationships took more effort than I anticipated. When I lived with others, social interaction was built into my day. Now I had to be more intentional about connecting with friends and family. Phone calls replaced casual conversations, planned dinners replaced impromptu meals. I missed the ease of shared laughter over breakfast. I missed the comfort of someone to debrief with after a long day. I realized that relationships, like plants, need tending to thrive. I couldn't just assume they would flourish without effort. Sometimes the effort felt exhausting. Other times it felt incredibly rewarding. I learned to be more proactive about reaching out. I learned to value the time I had with loved ones. I learned that relationships, though precious, take work. Living alone forced me to confront my own company. At first, the silence was jarring. I filled it with music, podcasts, even the television droning in the background. Slowly, though, I began to appreciate the stillness. I started to enjoy my own company. I rediscovered the pleasure of reading. I started journaling again, my pen scratching out thoughts and dreams. I learned to meditate, finding peace in the quiet of my own breath. The solitude, once daunting, became a source of comfort and clarity. I learned to differentiate between solitude and loneliness. Solitude was a choice, a deliberate embrace of my own company. Loneliness was an uninvited guest, a feeling of emptiness that crept in when I least expected it. Learning to recognize and appreciate the difference was a valuable lesson. The chore chart of freedom. There's no avoiding chores, even when you live alone. Dirty dishes pile up, laundry baskets overflow, dust bunnies gather in corners. The freedom I had craved suddenly felt burdened by mundane responsibilities. No one was there to remind me to take out the trash or change the light bulb. It was all on me. At first I let things slide. I told myself I deserved a break. But the mess quickly became overwhelming, a physical manifestation of the chaos I felt inside. I realized that routine was essential, not just for a clean apartment, but for my own well-being. I implemented a loose cleaning schedule, breaking down tasks into manageable chunks. I learned to find satisfaction in the simple act of putting things in order. Growing up with myself. Living alone became a journey of self-discovery. Free from the expectations and influences of others, I was able to explore different sides of myself. I experimented with new hobbies. I indulged in guilty pleasures. I allowed myself to be vulnerable, to make mistakes, to learn and grow. I discovered hidden strengths and confronted long-ignored weaknesses. I learned to advocate for myself, to set boundaries, to prioritize my own needs. I learned to be comfortable in my own skin, quirks and all. This newfound self-awareness extended beyond my personal life. I became more confident in my work. I was more decisive in my relationships. I felt more equipped to handle whatever life threw my way. Mastering the art of solo living. Living alone, I discovered, is an art form. It's about finding a balance between independence and connection, solitude and sociability, freedom and responsibility. It's about creating a space that feels like home, even when you're the only one there. I learned to embrace the small joys of solo living, dancing in my pajamas, eating breakfast for dinner, singing along to my favorite songs without judgment. I learned to be comfortable with my own company, to find contentment in the quiet moments. I learned that living alone doesn't have to mean being alone. It's about choosing how and when to connect with others, and how to cherish the time spent with myself. A toast to empty wine glasses. Living alone isn't always easy. There are days when the silence is deafening and the loneliness is overwhelming. But it's also incredibly liberating. It's a chance to discover who you are and what you want, free from the expectations of others. It's an opportunity to create a life that is uniquely your own. So, here's to empty wine glasses and late-night conversations with yourself. Here's to messy apartments and perfectly imperfect lives. Here's to the freedom of being alone and the joy of choosing your own company. Cheers to living solo.